G'day, it is Bowie Jane with Jess Bowen for Babes Behind the Beats, and we are so excited because today we have my good mates and Jess's new friends who she loves, Cory and America from Big Brother.
Woo! Also known as, are you guys still known as Comerica? Can I say that? Is that like the thing?
I think the official name is Americory.
Americory,
Oh,
that's
no,
what it was.
And tell everyone why it changed.
Oh, so in the house, we had no idea. Obviously, we're not seeing like Twitter or anything.
Right.
But we thought it was Comerica, and I hated Comerica because Comerica is a little vague as to who's in this showmance, right? You know,
Fair.
Americory is very obvious the two people involved, and you know, that's I'm on board with that.
So
Wow.
we're keeping it.
We're keeping it.
So Cameron's out.
So Cameron.
To be very clear, Cameron is
Yeah,
out.
okay. That was a nice way, Cory, of putting yeah.
Now it makes all the sense to me. Sorry I didn't keep up with that.
Oh, we want to know. Like, everyone asks me every time I'm on TikTok or anything, everyone's like, are Cory and America still together? I'm like, yes, they are. They're real. Hello. But I want to know, and we want to know, like, how has it been adjusting to being in the real life, being in a relationship, coming from Big Brother? Because I know even being friends with the people on the show, it's different because everyone's back to their real lives and people are different outside the house. It's freaking weird.
I think, honestly, it hasn't been that different. We're the same. You're the same person that you were inside. In jury, I think jury really helped. We were in there for 2 weeks, and it was like, no cameras, you know, how do we interact in that way? And it was like the same. It was even better, I think, because he was more comfortable, like being mushy and stuff.
Also, I think like in the game, and I'm sure I feel like it felt like this with you at times, Bowie too, and same with like Jag really. But like some conversations felt like they were outside of the game, and some felt like you were in the mix of all of it, and like you're trying to do a good job and put on a good face. But with America, especially in the house, at a certain point I kind of gave up and was just like being myself and not caring and whatever. So it wasn't like a big transition. Like me talking to someone like, who's a good example? Like Blue. Like I talked to Blue a very specific way in the game, and then talking to her in jury and whatever, it's a totally different experience.
Oh, and you've had that.
In America, it's
yeah.
the same thing.
Like even with Blue and all that, like you had that chance to have some off camera, but still not be in the real world. Which I did not have, so it's just been freaking weird, I reckon.
We were talking about it. We're like, oh my God, like the final 3, you know, that kind of sucks. Like you just get thrown out immediately. There's no chance to have like that cool down period that we had. But, you know, I would have rather taken third than jury. But yeah, it was nice. It was nice to be in there and like get a little period where like things were sort of normal before being thrown out.
It also gives you time to like be bitter and annoyed outside of the public eye.
To process it before getting out into the world again.
Yeah, like you have exit interviews the day right after, which you have to like tough it out through.
Yeah.
And then after that, you get to just like scream into your pillow for a couple days, and then all of a sudden you're out of the show and it's fine.
Well, that's what I was wondering is like, did you have any, and I hate to say it this way, but like PTSD from it? Like I know Bowie mentioned to me when she came out of the house, she was like, everything feels really loud. Like, did you guys experience anything like that?
And dark. Everything felt dark. Did you find that in the jury house? Because there's no TV lighting, so.
Even in the hotel room that they put us in after, because we're there for a night before we go to the jury house the next morning.
Oh, yeah.
I was like crying because I was like, I can't believe that I'm like able to look into the mirror and there's no camera looking back. Like, that's so weird. And so you're just like, I was a mess. I was just crying all night.
Oh, no.
But it was like, yeah, it felt like really dark, and I was turning on all the lights, and it wasn't like
bright
enough.
Literally, no one tells you about that.
It's weird, and I think like it really contributes to just how exhausting the whole show is, because it's just like blaring lights all the time. You can't nap. They don't turn the lights off till like 2 a.m.
Cory's been arguing on Twitter with people about how hard, because they're like Big Brother's for chumps, like Big Brother's like a kid's show, and Cory's like, no, it's not.
In a lot of ways, Big Brother is a kid's show. It's like the stinkometer and the pies and and I get that, but like being in there, you know how hard it is. And for me, I know a lot of people have like the trauma of, oh my God, I don't know, I can't trust anyone in real life now. I feel like everyone's lying to me. I'm fine with that. I enjoyed that in the game. It's like part of it and I love it. The hard part for me was just physically being in there is hard. Like I couldn't sleep ever. I slept for like an hour and it took me a couple minutes
Can I
out of
ask
the house.
why
Yeah.
for you, like guys
Yeah.
specifically, was it what made it hard to sleep? Was it just the fact that again it's everyone's hours being different, or what was it? Like why was it so
It was
hard?
different for me. I had the best sleep of my life.
Really?
In the house.
Oh my god.
And I think it was the lack of phones, right? Like there's no
Yeah,
screen time. Now I
totally.
like struggle to go to sleep. And in the house, I would like lay down and boom, out. Well, also we weren't allowed to nap. So that contributed to just like
Yeah,
being
you're
able to go to sleep.
tired.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was tired and but Cory's different.
Yeah. So even in normal life, like I have trouble sleeping sometimes because my brain's always going on like some I could be thinking about anything, whatever. But outside of the house, you could take melatonin, you could listen to a podcast, you could white noise, TV in the back, whatever.
Yeah.
In the house, there's nothing, and there's way more to think about.
And
That's
you're in
true.
that stupid room, that stupid scramble
Oh,
room.
God.
I mean,
Wait, which yeah, and
With
also
Felicia.
with that being said, it's also like it's completely silent then when you're going to bed, right? There's no because I sleep with like a fan on. There's no fans or anything like that.
No, with Felicia snoring.
That's
there
what I was gonna say. That was the that was
There
your
was
white
noise.
noise. That was your white noise. Weren't
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
like-
the ones in the room when she started singing?
yep.
Was it Steve or
Yes.
something? Oh my
Oh my
god.
God.
There's a lot.
That what was your like? I mean, I saw your reaction because it was all over the internet at the time. But like, were you guys like, "What is happening? Is she joking?" Or were you like, you knew?
I was so confused. I would have woken her up if I had processed like, oh, she's having a nightmare. I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, she's yelling, whatever. Like,
So
let
it
me
was a
turn over,
nightmare.
let me
It
go to
was a
sleep.
nightmare that she was having.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
apparently.
okay.
But I didn't even process it. I wasn't fully awake. I
We
was
could
just-
hear her in the next room as well. We heard that happen, but they were right next to her. Like,
Oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine. I just saw it on like I think it was on TikTok or something, and then it became this whole thing of her singing in her
Oh my
It was
sleep.
part of the song.
It was part of the
That's fucking
song.
Bowie Jane
Yeah.
It was part of the
Bowie
song.
Jane
It
song.
was part of the
Yeah,
song.
that's
Yeah, it was
it.
pretty epic.
So that room does something to you because that was also the room where Heisem was like sleeping
Across the
normally
two beds.
and then across the two beds. Like I don't know what it is about the Scrambleverse, but like
Did you
it's
see
not
that?
normal.
I didn't see
she
that.
watched all the live feeds. By the way, she's first time Big Brother watcher. And
Never
I
seen it
didn't
before.
even think she would watch maybe more than 3 produced shows max. She watched the live feed. She's on tour and she's obsessed watching it on her phone.
I literally made it so that my TikTok feed would get everything because I've never seen it before. And then obviously when your friend is on the show, you're like, well, I got to keep up with it. And so every week, and then I'd be on tour and I'm like, well, I got to catch up. And I'd like go get on TikTok immediately and be like, what just happened? But yeah, I saw all the things that have
I love that
gone
because
on.
the live feeds, watching the live feeds is the only way to watch Big
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah,
Sometimes I'll only watch the feeds and not the actual produced show.
I
'cause
agree. Because
That's all you need.
see
Yeah.
everything in real time, and then you don't need to watch the show because they're just putting in the things that you already saw that's going to happen. You're like, okay, I already know this person's getting evicted or whatever,
Yeah.
before it happens.
Well,
But
it's that, but it's also they're trying to give like the viewers the most like simple explanation of how things are happening, which it's never like lying, but it's really not representative of what happens sometimes, which I think as a viewer is fine because you're just enjoying it as a TV show.
Yeah.
But someone who's on the show, you're watching it and it's like, I had this conversation after that conversation that they're showing.
true,
Like,
the way they
things are
Yeah.
mixed around a lot. So like, I think once you start watching the feeds, it's hard to go back.
So
Well,
have
you're
you-
listening to the feeds right now.
Oh,
That's
so
true.
you
He's been
I-
listening.
So that's what I wanted to ask. Have you guys watched it back, and to what extent?
I haven't watched any of the episodes.
Me
I
neither.
watched the 6-hour recap that you did with Taryn, and I also watched Taryn's like full recap of the season.
Yeah. So you were just on Rob's podcast, right? You were on Bryce's
Yeah,
Purple Pants.
yeah.
I think. Yeah. So I listened to a lot of like the podcast coverage and the live feed updates, just basically going through each day and what happened.
Mhm.
Because I'm such a fan, I want to figure out like what did I just experience?
Where did I go
only-
wrong?
I
Yeah.
only know my perspective, right?
right.
So I've done a lot of homework, and I feel like I
Right.
finally have a good grasp of like what happened this season. And I've watched maybe up like the first 5 weeks of episodes, and I just got kind of bored and stopped.
Okay, and what would you do anything different? Because I've been asked that question, and I say no. I wouldn't have done anything different because of what I knew at the time. There's no way you could know about Sari and Jared, but what would you do different? I would have.
Oh yeah, I
chosen-
got 8th place. Of course, I would do stuff differently.
Bowie, I would have talked to you first, not even lying. Like, I would have gotten closer to you those first couple of weeks.
I wish we had. I said that to Jess, that the three of us, but we couldn't because we'd already gone into different directions.
Different like alliances,
Like,
right?
you-
From like week 1, right?
Yeah.
That was the
I mean,
case.
I think I tried to make an effort with you pretty early. Bowie was like week 4 or
Yeah.
something. It was after you got. It was like right before you got blindsided with the red vote.
Fuck those assholes. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, and then I remember you came up to me, Bowie, and you're like, Cory, I really appreciate how you didn't lie to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought I did, but okay. That's good.
No.
Look, I would never lie to you.
You,
And
you never confirmed really where you were voting, so I was like, that's good enough for me.
well, yeah, and I think like at that point in the house, you were probably being pushed away by like the Cerise and Izzy's.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like everything up until Zombie Week, I feel like I was killing it. There was mistakes, but I felt solid. And then after that, I think I basically like had too much confidence in like. Basically, I took you for granted, I think. And I also didn't realize how much Matt was against me. Those are like the two things that I think.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Matt was really not a fan of America and I the whole season, which we had no idea because, you know, it's when you're talking to Matt, it's like, oh my God, this guy, he's great. Like, he loves us. But he was kind of like the whole time, we should get rid of Cory and America. And Jag was really the one who was like, maybe not yet.
Yeah.
But was it because of like was it because this was at the time, maybe I'm mixing things up. Was he still in alliance with Jared? Like, was he
Jared's gone at this point.
Jared was gone at that point. Okay.
Well, I think Matt's plan was kind of exactly what happened. He just wanted to get down to the weaker competitors. And that's kind of like I'm a weak competitor, so is America. But I think they viewed Suri and Felicia probably as the weakest, and they thought they had you, Bowie.
Yeah, I mean, they
so,
definitely were. In my head, Serene and Felicia, that was the only reason they were still there. I mean, otherwise, yeah. In my view, you two was very strong. And you would have killed that the second competition and the third. I would have been wiped out for sure. But I would have aligned. If I'd aligned with you early on, I would have stuck with you.
Well, so what I've noticed about watching the season is the first half of the season was super entertaining as a viewer because, I mean, say what you will about Izzy, but she's super chaotic and was in the house doing a ton of stuff. And you had Suri, and then Cameron's a wild card, and we're flipping the house and everything. And then once Cameron gets evicted again, it just becomes Matt, Jag, and you getting rid of people in order of how likely they are to win competitions, and you guys never lose again.
Yeah.
So it just kind of stalled out a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, I think Blue would have gone before me because, again, Blue's a better competitor than me. So like, it was literally just an order at that point.
Well, so with the Blue thing, Blue was definitely going. That was no lie. I don't know if you got to that point, but Blue was definitely going. That was not a joke. It was only that she won that stupid guessing thing. And then we had to. Then it was like, oh, okay, are Cory and America going to make a move on Jag? Like that. That was kind of like, who's making the first move? That's what it felt
And
like.
we would have.
Yeah, right.
That was the whole thing. Like, I'm outside with Julie. She's like, did they make a mistake? And I'm like, yes, they made a mistake. And she's like, but you were going after them. And I was like, yep, I was.
Yeah.
But how dare they?
Yeah, I actually have beef with Bowie on this one.
Yeah.
So you talked about the guessing numbers comp. Are you still to this day defending your stupid ass guess?
10 minutes.
That was no, you guessed 470 something, right?
No, which one?
The first one, right?
600. No, 627.
Superhero Training Academy.
That was your second stupidest guess of the season.
The first one I was trying to throw. The second one, these were educated guesses as to what the other person's going to be doing. In my head, I think it's luck, but it's also me going, wait, what's he likely to pick? That was how I was winging it out.
So you guessed 3 minutes over the max time is kind of my biggest concern, right? It was like, so it was based on the max amount of money, 300 seconds was the total.
Yeah.
You guessed 470, which was a lot better than Serene and Felicia's guesses.
Yeah. I
But
can't
then
even
I was like,
remember.
Bowie, what was that guess about? And you go, I think it was a good guess. I thought Jag would discount.
You're like, I'd do it again. Get him out there again.
So the first, whatever the first one was, I didn't even do the calculation. I just wrote down 27. And then I was like, wait, I'll just put a 6 in front.
Oh, you're talking about your HOH, your first HOH.
We're talking
The
about
first
the
HOH.
Superhero Training Academy.
Yeah. Oh,
Hanging.
that. Yes. No, I did have no, that was real. I really did think that, I don't know why, that he could hold. I thought he was kind of superhuman, and he's not. Like, he's fucking not. Like,
He's a guy. He's
no,
just, you know.
But in my head, I was like, he's winning all the comps. I think he could hold on. No, I see what you're talking about. No, I definitely thought that was a real guess.
That was a real
I
educated
was
guess.
not throwing that. I really wanted to win that because I wanted
You
Blue
pulled out
out.
that number, and I was like, oh, she's done. She's getting the solitary confinement. And then we see Felicia and Suri pull out 10 minutes.
Suri's like, he will hold on for 2 hours. So like, Suri,
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Oh my
even
God.
worse. Oh, well, she must have been throwing that.
Do you think she was throwing that?
I don't.
At that
think so.
point,
I
I
just
don't know.
think they. Yeah, I don't think they thought. I don't think they had any sense of like how hard a dead hang is, but also like.
True.
Again, I don't think anyone did the math. Like
I did the math. I did the math. I
You just thought he
literally
was really
wrote it
strong
out.
because you were like, he's a strong.
And I was like, for the money, he's just going to keep staying in. He's going to stay in.
But the problem is, Bowie, you guessed 3 minutes over the max time for max money. That's the problem.
Well, I think I
No,
might
the
have.
problem is, Bowie, you didn't account for Jag's TikTok lives after. He didn't care about the money in the
He
game.
knew he could make
He could get it
$50.
after.
That's right. No, actually, I remember thinking he won't be able to calculate the time correctly because he won't know how long he's been hanging, so he'll stay on a bit after. That's what I would do if I was strong enough. But yeah, he wasn't strong
You
enough.
would have hung on for 400 seconds.
I would.
Wait, I wanted to ask about what was the thing I said earlier that America did? Oh, when you
Oh.
did do this, right? You flipped the house one time with
Izzy.
Cameron.
No.
When Cameron was HOH, you were the reason that you guys ended up, I think, deciding Jared was the bad guy. Like, I want to say bad guy, but there was a week where it was, I think you were going to vote out. I wish I could remember at this
It was
point.
Felicia.
It was
and
Felicia.
Nathan.
And then you decided to get Jared. You went and told, and then you guys pitched Jared as the guy to kick out, right? And you were the source, America. I swear, you were the one that did this.
That's what I'm saying. No,
Yes.
but yeah, I went up to Cam. I mean, Cam pulled me in. I had just finished talking to Jag, I remember, in the have not room.
Yes.
Oh my God, Jag. I was like, Jag, you can't trust. I was talking about Blue. I was like, Blue is telling everything that we're talking about to Izzy. Because
Yes.
I had talked to Jag
Oh.
about possibly getting rid of Izzy that week, trying to sense where he was at.
Yeah.
And he was like, yes, yes, yes. But he did it in front of Blue. And I knew that Blue, you had already told me, Blue's going to go back to Izzy and tell her everything. So I told Jag, I was like, Jag, you can't do this. And Jag's like, oh, well, let's get Blue in the room and let's talk it out. I was like, no, that's not
No.
how you play the game. So I was coming out super frustrated from the have not room. And Cam pulls me in. And I had already spilled everything to Jag. So I was like, what's the harm in doing it again? I was like, Cam, like, these people are against you. And he's like, wrong.
Yes,
was
I
like,
remember
"No."
this.
And he's like, wrong.
Cam's like, I'm in the power of the house.
Cam had no idea that everyone,
like,
behind
Izzy
his back was like,
loves me.
he was like, they love me. They were like, Cam's the next guy we're getting out.
That's
Everyone was saying it, and
crazy.
you were able to be like, by the way, Cam, everyone's going for you. And he just like you said, I remember him being like, no, you're wrong, trying to convince you. And then
I
it
Cam,
was,
no one cheered when you won.
yeah,
Did that not tip you
Yeah.
off?
no one cheered.
Crying in the storage room.
Izzy
You
came back
remember,
and said,
Bowie,
your
this
boy
is the one
won.
where it was the question, was it Snottum? No,
It was
name that
the-
too.
Name that too.
Name
Oh
that
yeah,
too,
yeah,
you
yeah,
were
yeah,
wrong.
yeah. And no one
And, like,
clapped.
Cam
And
wins.
I'd just been crying, so because had the blind side, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, like from a viewer's perspective, it was actually very epic because at the time, obviously, with Bowie being my friend, I was like, Cam is the only person on her team, even though Cam, like the whole rift between them, whatever, like they ended up working it out, Red and Cam. But I was like, Bowie, like you got to stick with Cam. So when Cam won, it was the most epic thing. Me and Lauren were both like, no fucking way, because then we knew you were safe again.
I was
like,
literally in
yeah.
my head doing that. Like if there weren't cameras, I would have been like, "Fuck you all, motherfucker."
I mean, I will say they did show a bit of like they showed you being like super upset, like because
after-
everyone knew, it was the storyline was obviously that it was you, Cam, and Red. They
Yeah, but-
made that the storyline.
well, no, I was upset, but then when Cam won, I
when
was
Cam
like,
won, yeah, then it was like
I was
it
so
was
happy.
for fans of that trio. It was like, oh fuck yeah, like this is what happens. Like we
Yeah.
were like stoked because Cam won. But then yeah, you had the epic turning the vote against. Was it
It's
against
funny.
Izzy?
So, first of all, Cameron screwed up the nominations. He put up Felicia and Izzy.
Exactly.
Which
I
I'm
remember
like-
asking him, I'm like, why didn't you do Izzy and Suri?
and his
He's
plan
like,
was to backdoor Suri and then vote out Izzy. Like it was the dumbest
It was
plan
wild.
ever.
Yeah.
And anyone would have told him that, like, because we were all wanting to do it at that point. It was just he told us he was doing Jag and Blue, and we're like, okay, I guess.
right,
Yeah.
right, because otherwise it
I
would
thought
have
that
been.
week.
Then it wouldn't have been a question. It would have just been Izzy, right? If it was Izzy and Suri.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think I would try to save Izzy, but it wouldn't have happened. And honestly, like Jared ends up winning that veto, so maybe he takes down Suri and Felicia goes up anyways.
Yeah.
But like, who knows? But that whole week was really, I think, frustrating for a lot of points because up until that point, my alliance, obviously it was me and America, but then it was me, Jared, Suri, and Izzy. I didn't know how close they were and how I really wasn't even a part of them at that point, right?
Yeah.
And Jared just started being like a dick to me and like was like, America has to go. And then Izzy eventually like made it so obvious that like she was just gonna do whatever Suri said the whole season. And I thought I had a good relationship with Izzy, but it didn't matter if it was not as close with Suri.
Right.
So then like America brings me this information and went to Cam and like it all happened really quickly. But
what happened too is Matt told me right before I talked to Cam too, that day I think, or the day before, Matt told me that he had played in Path to Power and that Suri had also played Path to Power. And I was like, oh, I've been trying to get Izzy out. Cory's been pushing against it because he thinks he's close to them. Like, this is huge. He's not as close to them as he thinks he is if they're not telling him.
Right.
And they're telling Matt. So obviously Matt's more in with them
I
than
didn't,
you.
I didn't care that Suri didn't tell me because I didn't tell Suri that I played. But the fact that she told Matt, I was like, who the hell is Matt to Suri?
Oh my
like,
God!
Matt,
why did they tell it? Why did
Matt
they
and
tell
Suri were
anyone?
close
Matt told
from,
Suri.
and
Yeah,
you
but-
guys like Matt and Suri were like this for the longest time. I mean, he had her back.
That's why we
like
got
no
rid
other.
of Suri. We're
Yeah.
like, Matt's too closely aligned.
Wait, that's what was so hard about that entire situation. Because like talking to Mimi, it was really hard because Mimi and like Suri were super close.
Yeah.
And then Matt didn't want to flip at all because he was in the middle and he loved Suri. Talking to you, Bowie, was awesome because I was like, Bowie, we're voting out Izzy. You're like, oh, cool.
I was
Izzy.
like,
Okay.
You're like, I'm down. You're like, oh, I was going to do that anyway.
Yeah, the one thing,
I
like-
spoke to him. America came and spoke to me about that in the bathroom. We had a good discussion. I was like, oh, this is, in my head, I was like, this is freaking good. I didn't want to be too
remember
excited.
that. The
Yeah.
bathroom talk. I was like, Bowie's in. Like, Bowie's in. Like,
What did
what,
she-
what else do you need?
What did she say to Jag in the kitchen where she was like, Karma,
A payback.
payback?
Oh, yeah. I was like, sucked in. I was so happy.
The one thing I was trying to make clear that week, Bowie, because obviously the next day is the big fight.
Oh,
me
that
and
was
Jared.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I was just trying to
insane.
be like, Bowie, it's not just Izzy, it's Suri. It's Suri and Izzy. Because you kept telling me, like, Cory, I think you should have a chat with Suri about this. Like, I think Suri might be on board. I'm like, oh, no. Suri's not a fan, Bowie. I promise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But she's just really convincing. It's hard to, like, you know.
Well, actually, that's what I wanted to. We were chatting about it before. Like, the fact that she was on Survivor and she's done Traders and all that. Obviously, you were a fan of hers, or ish. So, if you didn't know that she was on those shows, what would your view of her game have been in the house?
Like, after the fact or, like, as
Like,
we were in
if
there?
just say she hadn't been on those shows, just looking at the way she played, because I didn't. Think,
After the fact, though,
Yeah,
like after you got out of the house, like looking back on it.
Yeah.
If you,
I think Suri this season was really interesting because she came in with seemingly a lot of advantages of like Izzy and Jared, right? Especially Jared being a secret, but Jared was kind of such a disaster, and Izzy was at times too, where like it almost balanced it out. Because if one of them was a good player, it would have been really, really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
But I think like you probably feel this way too. When you're having a one-on-one conversation with Suri, I always walked away feeling good about it,
Yeah.
even though I had my guard up all the time with Suri because I was like one of the only people who knew who she was before.
yeah.
But she still was able to convince me of a lot of things she shouldn't have been able to. So I have a lot of respect for
Yeah,
her as a
right.
player.
She has that like that I could see that like around her, like
Well,
kind of being
everyone
like
trusted
everyone
her.
trusted her. Like
Yeah.
as a viewer on the outside, I was just like, damn, like. And then I would see the things she would say afterwards, and I'm just like, you can't trust her. But I can see how she would pull you in, and you'd be like, I need to be on her good side.
Even the Izzy vote, she swore to me that if she was going to not vote for Izzy to go, she would tell me. She promised.
And you
now,
believed
it
her.
didn't matter because it was such a whitewash with it. But like, seriously, that wasn't very cool. Like, she
She
Well, I think
still
what
got
was-
away with it. Like,
What was so hard with Suri was like the first half of the season, she had so much control and she was doing so well. But once the house flipped on her, it really did just become about competitions.
yeah,
Yeah.
And like the rest of the game was determined by like Cam won an HOH and then it was just you, Jag, and Matt, and Jag won most like everything, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like no matter how good she is socially and strategically, and all, it just doesn't matter because
Yeah.
like
Not for this game. Yeah,
Not in
not
this-
for
she was
Big
just being
Brother.
brought along because they could beat her, which is like almost insulting because like it's Suri. You don't just bring Suri along.
Yeah.
But the way this season worked out, you know, it just kind of was
Like
the right
she
thing
could
to
only get so far with not being able to like win comps, you know.
The
Yeah.
only
not be
thing is, if
physically.
she got to the final 3, say it was Jag, Matt, and her, I wonder if Matt would have taken her, and then she might have won.
If Matt took her,
Yeah.
I don't know if she would have won over Matt in that
I think
scenario.
Cerie's speech would have been
Yeah.
a lot better than Matt's, and I
Yeah.
think she would have convinced.
I think
You do
honestly,
think so?
that
Yeah.
so we talked about that, and I think we thought Matt would beat Suri in the final 2, but given how bad Matt's speech was, and we know Suri's would probably be better than Matt and Jag's speech,
Yeah.
I do think she would have ended up having it because she would have 100% had Felicia, 100% had Blue.
Yeah.
I would not have voted for Matt if he gave that speech next to Suri.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think she would have won.
But that's the problem. That's why we were never going to let her get through, because she was a threat. In that way, she was a threat, not a comp threat, but like she was a threat that if she got to that position, she might win. Even Felicia, she might win in that point. Like, so
Yeah.
I think Felicia would have had a tough time beating anybody. Just knowing that jury, like, I think you would have beaten Felicia. I think towards the end game, your path was either America or Felicia.
yeah, right.
You
Oh,
might
and
have had
I have to say, I was working with Jag and Matt for that final. Oh shit, we're running
Yeah.
out of time for that final 3 thing. But I was so tempted to work. I was like, America and I could run through the end, because Cory told me just before he left, he's like, I see a path with you and America. And I was like, so do I in my head, but like, I just don't know. Like I did, because we hadn't worked together enough. So
Well, let's talk about the final 6, Bowie.
So let's talk about that second double eviction.
second double eviction. Yes, sorry about that.
Because honestly, and like, obviously, we love you, Bowie, but like, once America came and we saw you were HOH at the final 6, I don't think it was possible for you to win anymore with the jury, because
Yeah.
we were like, okay, you like whoever wins there who's not Matt and Jag has to put up Matt and Jag, otherwise they're just like conceding the game, is the way we viewed it.
Right.
And like, Suri came into jury and was like heated, like Bowie Jane, just, you know,
But
it's
I-
Bowie and Jag and Bowie and Matt and but like, that was the moment where I was like, damn, because I was probably the biggest Bowie defender in jury
Yeah.
for like the longest time.
Both
And I
of
was
you
like,
were actually. I remember when you guys sat down and chatted about it in jury, it was both of you guys that were defending her game, because everyone kept trying to, Suri and Felicia, everyone just kept trying to like say it wasn't a good game that she played and that she was just following along or whatever it
Yeah.
was, floating.
My plan was, I was working hard on Jag, and where it really falls over is keeping Felicia or Matt in that point when it's a 4. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying I wanted him to make the decision. I just didn't want to tell him that he should go again, like make a decision he really would feel bad about forever. So I was like, I know it's a game, but I couldn't go there with that. So, but if he had got rid of Matt, I think I was in a really good position to win then. Because even if Jag and I are in the final 2, he's got rid of Matt. Matt's going to be pissed.
Mhm.
And then so I work on Jag to get me to the final 2, and he was close until the last 2 nights.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly think that like, if you got to the final 3 with Jag and Felicia, Jag definitely would have beaten you, because we were in the jury begging for Jag to cut
Yeah.
Matt or Matt to cut Jag.
Yeah.
Like, we just
One
wanted
of the-
someone to do it.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you, I think, absolutely would have beaten Felicia. I
Yeah.
do believe that.
And I guess
especially
if I'd
you wanted
cut
to cut
Jag,
Jag or something.
if I'd cut Jag or Matt, I guess I would have the respect of the jury. But not that
Because
person
you know
I've
Cameron
cut.
wouldn't
But
vote for Felicia.
no.
Yeah.
I think America and I would have voted for you over Felicia, I
Yeah.
think.
I think, yeah.
You just need one more.
Yeah.
I think you would have gotten there.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well,
Crazy to think about the scenarios. like,
the
4 months later. What is
Yeah.
it? It's been so long.
I
wild.
know. I try not to watch any of the Big Brother stuff. It's still too fresh for me. Like, but I'll get there eventually.
well, before we run out of time, would you guys do, like, my question is, like, after that experience, would you do a game like Amazing Race together or like Traders or anything like that? Are you guys interested in doing another like comp show?
Yes.
Yeah?
I do Big Brother again if they called like today.
Okay, you
I'd
would.
do it tomorrow. Do another 100 days. Let's run it back.
Yeah?
Afterwards, you just can't help but be like, especially me, I was like, I blabbed so much. I was just telling people, I was like, I should have known not to trust certain people when like the information that I'm telling them is getting out to the rest of the house. And I kept trying and I'm like, okay, well, like now I know, right? Like I just don't say anything.
Actually, it would be interesting to play it again. Even for me, I think it would be interesting to play it again. Like you would play it differently, I think. A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
gotta work out a lot.
Oh God, I'm not losing the wall again. Like, especially knowing my like trusted allies throw that competition. Like, I
Cory is bitter about that one. That's
About the wall, the holding on. To the wall.
he's so mad that I threw it.
Yeah.
Because everyone was going up to me being like, Bowie threw it. I'm like,
I know, and I was
I'm
like,
like, not
no.
my Bowie.
Yeah, I was like,
We're
I
close.
saw it. Me and Lauren literally we saw it. We're like, why the fuck did Bowie throw that? Like we were mad when we saw it. We were
Yeah.
like, no.
It worked out, thankfully, because
did.
Jag pulled through with the veto. But I think for me, like, the idea of going on TV tomorrow is like a nauseating. Like, it was a lot.
Totally.
But I think it's too great of an opportunity, and it was so fun being in there. And my main thing is like, I feel like as a 21-year-old starting the season, I was okay at. I had some things I was good at in the game, a lot of things I was bad at. I'm like, damn, where would I be at 30? Like,
Yeah.
in a couple more years, maybe I would be a little less,
When you
all
put
over
it
the
that
place.
way,
So I think
yeah.
that's my thought.
Damn.
Oh, I think you guys played a great game. By the way, I
Totally.
think we've
got a
5
few minutes,
so
but
that's
we
okay.
have to wrap it at some point.
Yeah. What was I gonna ask? Damn it, I
We got
forgot.
5 minutes to ask
Oh,
something.
man, like-
Before this
Oh yeah,
cuts it off.
Bowie.
I was ticking.
I wanted to ask, like, how's law school going? And also, what are you doing? You've moved to Nashville, America. So, like, how's that whole law school thing going?
So basically, being in Big Brother delayed my applying to law school for a year.
Yeah.
Because there's just no exams available. We were in there from April or August to November. So I'm basically forced into taking a gap year next year, which is kind of nice considering there's obviously a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I'm finishing up school. I have this semester a couple classes in the summer, and then I'm done. And America's lease is up, next
October.
fall.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
So, what are you going to do?
And
Travel?
then the plan after that. What do you think?
I don't know. I think we're thinking New York, maybe.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like I just got here. I moved here early January. It's been like 2 months.
Oh, that's
since I
so
moved in.
fresh. Yeah.
It's like so fresh. Like it's just starting to get nicer out. Like
Yeah.
I'm still decorating my apartment. I'm like, if we have to extend the lease by a few months, why not? Like Nashville's cute. It's nice.
Yeah.
There's too many cars. So I don't drive. I don't know how to drive. I don't have a car. Cory drives me around everywhere or I'll walk. But there's just way too many cars here. It's kind of annoying. That's
Yeah.
why I'm like, thinking
Yeah.
New York after, but
Yeah, it's
there's time.
That makes
Also,
sense.
Bowie, this apartment is crazy. We now outside have a hammock.
Oh, my God.
We're gonna get like the fake grass out there.
Yeah.
We're gonna get the beanbag. It's gonna be a full
We're thinking,
replica.
of that corner.
The
Or
water-
Replica of
and
that.
the watermelon?
Oh my God! Yeah, I forgot. Definitely the water.
And that
then we're gonna get
disgusting
the outside
blanket?
awnings that we can lower every morning.
And then we're gonna get a camera.
And then Bowie's gonna tell production that Cory's napping, so that production wakes you up.
Bowie was so bitter. The reason I chose Bowie to be a have-not, I'm like, she's not gonna complain. It's Bowie Jane. She's just happy.
I
And then the
fucking
entire
lost
time
my
you're like, that
shit.
motherfucker won't go to bed.
I lost my shit about that.
Not getting sleep will fuck up anyone's mind for sure.
But then Cory apologizes. Like, you guys are good. You move on. It's perfect. So, like, you
So
guys are
funny.
good. I really like you too. And I hop on my TikTok lives and I always talk highly of you guys. And they say, "Oh, Cory and America always talk highly of you." So I'm like, okay, we're good. Yeah.
I know who the
Of
favorites
course,
are.
Bowie.
Yeah, we know who Bowie's favorites are.
I love Bowie's TikTok lives because I always go in. My username is America's bitch, and every time she's like, "Is that really Cory?
I
Tell me
forget.
one thing that only you would know, Cory."
That's hilarious. I would
Oh.
not think that was
So I literally said, "Tell me one thing," and I said, "Actually, yeah." So tell me one thing, and you said, "What'd you say? The slope of the
I said-
The
I said-
table,
yeah.
the
Tell me,
bumper pool table.
and it was a hard question because I had to like think back. She's like, "Tell me a hack about the bumper pool table."
Yeah.
wow.
And he's like,
that's
"Well,
great.
it slopes to the left, or whatever it
It
was."
slopes into the white one, so that you want to play on that side. You always played on that side, and despite you still lost most of them.
Wow. Damn.
And I was
Good question.
like, "Oh my god!"
It's a good way to prove it, you know.
Oh, well, and now we need to get all your socials and stuff so people can follow you.
Oh yeah, say all your social media that you're on. Everyone can follow you guys.
So I'm adog956 on Twitter and Instagram. On TikTok, I'm a frail king lover. Follow me there.
I'm Cory Wertenberger on everything: Twitch, Instagram, Twitter.
TikTok though.
TikTok, I'm America's bitch. No content yet, but maybe
Coming
one
soon.
day. You can find me in Bowie's Lives chat room.
He's just trolling.
Recently subscribed, so in the
I know.
chats, you can find me.
Oh my god, that's
Amazing.
hilarious.
Well, thank you guys so much for doing this. It's good to see you,
Yeah, you guys are
virtually.
awesome.
Of course. We're so excited. We
We
haven't seen you in forever, Bowie. It feels like forever.
After I go to Seattle for a little bit, I'll explain off air, and then I'll come
yeah,
to.
we don't want to give your location away like that.
Then I'm coming to Nashville to visit. I'll come
Amazing.
for a weekend or something.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we are running
Thank
out
you
of time.
guys.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.